I'm Rick Newman, I'm one of the church wardens here at St Luke with Holy Trinity in Charlton, in South East London.
How long have you been here?
I've been here 40 years.
40? 40?
In a small world, yes. I came here, got married here, and it's such a wonderful place.
I think I saw something, was it a Newton who is the benefactor of the church?
We've got the builder of Charlton House,
Yeah.
or in his will. This is the memorial to Adam Newton. Actually, it's a memorial to his wife. He wrote the Latin script, of which there's a translation for those of us not fluent in Latin. This is quite a stunning memorial. The stonework is by venerated sculptor of the age Nicholas Stone. But this is Adam Newton, who was tutor to James I's son, Henry. And he came down from, I think he was something in Durham, bought the manor of Charlton, built Charlton House, and was clearly well established in society. And he was tutor to the king's son, Henry. Sadly, Henry, at the age of 19, got typhoid and died, which suddenly history changed, and we ended up with Charles I and a whole different ballgame. But he was, in his will, he left money for the rebuilding of what was the Anglo-Saxon church here. And between 1630 and 1639, the bulk of the church was rebuilt. So this is Adam Newton. It also celebrates him as well as his dear wife.
So teachers did a bit better financially those days if they were teaching the king.
If you were teaching the heir, yeah. I'm sure that somebody made sure that you were well provided for.
Have we looked at this one?
This was erected by Sir William Langhorne in memory of his wife, who at one point was the Viscountess of Ardmar. Apparently it weighs 16 tons because it has been moved within the building at one point. I'm told it's fashioned by the Southwark stonemasons. It's got a bit of everything, and it's almost as though there was a catalogue that Langhorne came along and possibly asked to see their stock book.
Oh, and said, I'll have a bit of that.
I'll have a bit of that, I'll have a couple of those, although those look nice, although the cherubs down the front, bit of grisly bits with the skull in the front.
Definitely have the skull.
It's also fascinating that the year changes. It's almost as though somebody couldn't make their mind up as to whether it's February 1699 or 1700. I think it's part to do with at times the year actually ended.
Was it when they changed the calendar, perhaps? Is it near that time?
It could well be. I've seen in a few other places where there's uncertainty over which year.
There is absolutely everything on this. Dare I say it's a tad out of scale with the surrounding buildings?
It's just huge. But I think William Langhorne, he was a humble civil servant. He was in a senior administrative post in India. I think his salary was several £100s a year. Clearly he was getting a lot more than that. And we might have had cause to see whether it was by ill-gotten gains. It looks more, everything I've read, he was just very, very good administrator, enterprising, and he had a few side hustles and dealt with the locals and seemingly dealt quite fairly. The fact that he probably sought to be paid in precious jewels rather than the local currency was a good investment on his part. And he came back, he bought the living, he rented Charlton House and lived there for a while, and was a massive benefactor to the church here. He built a schoolhouse at the end of the church, which was the first school in the area. He's not a statue that we'll be feeling in any way to pull
embarrassed
down.
by, yeah.
You know, he's not
a huge slave owner.
We're not going to take him down to the river and push him into the Thames.
There is a moment where the scale of these things are so huge that they're impossible to throw away, even if you wanted to.
Well, in a little church like this, which was just a parish church, small parish church in a village in Kent, to have a monument like this, it reflects his huge status.
What's the oldest? Is there anything on the wall or anything that actually does date from the church that was before
Definitely.
this one?
The oldest one we have is Master Edward Wilkinson.
1561.
He was late master cook to the most excellent our sovereign and Lady Queen Elizabeth. He worked in the family. He served for Henry VIII. Something like Yeoman of the Mouth. A job title that doesn't exist anymore, not outside of the food programmes, but I think Yeoman of the Mouth sounds wonderful.
I think it does. MasterChef, perhaps. Well,
MasterChef.
He's the current.
MasterChef, he'd risen in the ranks. You had to start off at some point. But Yeoman of the Mouth.
Yeoman of the Mouth.
Maybe it's like you're the one who tests the king's food before he eats it. But this splendid statue here is the Brigadier.
Goodness me, this is worthy of Nelson himself.
It's a fantastic statue. The Honourable Brigadier Michael Richards, Surveyor General of the Ordnance to His late Majesty King George I. He was in battle with the Duke of Marlborough, fought at Blenheim. For all his possible vanity, he seems to be quite a brilliant engineer. He's responsible for a lot of the buildings at Woolwich Arsenal, but internationally he's something to do with the fortifications for St John's in Newfoundland. So he'd certainly travelled around the world. Tight-fitting body armour. It looks like it's something he got out of the dressing-up box. I don't think it was standard military issue. And he's remembered with this statue, which I have to say mysteriously gets decorated every Christmas. And in his pomp and glory, he deserves it. I can't describe it any other way.
He's tinselified. He's blinged up.
He needs to be blinged up. This is the campest statue